watching Job Inside, and once again this is Millie. As the world is advancing, the competitiveness is increasing and the greed to reap personal benefits is also increasing. Finding a candidate who is ethical, whose values resonate with the company ethics has become a dire need for recruiters now. And therefore today we are going to discuss interview questions related to workplace ethics. So before we dig deep into what are these related questions and answers, let us first understand what the word ethics actually means. So you can bifurcate ethics into two categories, that is personal ethics and professional ethics. Ethics, or basically personal ethics, are the morals, the values and the belief systems through which you live your life. And professional ethics are the values that the employee adheres to at his workplace. So yeah, there is a difference between personal and professional ethics, but if you observe minutely, professional ethics are nothing but the implementation or the transfer of personal ethics to the workplace. And to ensure that you do possess these kind of work ethics and you possess this kind of ability to transfer your personal ethics into the workplace, these kind of interview questions related to workplace ethics are asked in the job interviews. So the questions that you could be asked related to work ethics could be something like what is your philosophy towards work? Or just a straightforward question like what are some of your work ethics? So let me give you some examples of workplace ethics. They could be responsibility, reliability, accountability, loyalty, honesty, integrity, teamwork, confidentiality, etc. So if you have watched my previous videos, I keep stressing upon customizing your interview answers. Customizing in the sense that preparing your answers according to the company that you are interviewing for. So basically the same concept can be applied here too. If you are applying for some bigger companies, for some MNCs, for example KPMG, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Deloitte, etc. If you go to their website, you would find a code of ethics listed over there. And in there, they mention what are the work ethics that they are looking for into their employees. So, for example, KPMG focuses on integrity, working together, empowering together. PricewaterhouseCoopers again focuses on integrity, honesty, making a difference, evolving together. Deloitte again, it focuses mainly on two work ethics, that is honesty and integrity. So these are some of the examples which you could refer to. And in case you find that you do possess these kind of work ethics which are also listed on the company website that you are applying to, you talk about them first in your interview, which creates a good impression, which ensures the interviewers that you are a good fit for the job. So once you have talked about your work ethics, the next questions that they would ask you would be related to verification of your workplace ethics that you have just described. They would want to judge, they would want to verify whether you actually possess those workplace ethics or you were just talking about them. So in order to verify, they would ask some kind of situational questions or some kind of ethical dilemma questions. And on the basis of the answer that you give, on the basis of the choices that you make, the decision that you take, they'll be able to judge what kind of workplace ethics that you possess. So if I give my personal example, for the last job that I was interviewing for, when I sat for its final round of interview, I was asked a situational question. It was a hypothetical situation wherein I was asked that if I have a deadline to submit a particular document, let's say it was by today evening, and I have a stakeholder who is on his toes, who has lost his patience completely and he wants his work done then and there itself and he is demanding for his work to be done, then in that case what would I do? Would I choose completing my deadline first and ignoring the stakeholder, or would I completely ignore my deadline and attend the stakeholder? So what I answered was that if this situation is arising, let's say after a month or 1.5 months down the line in my job, then I would have built a good rapport with my team members and I could have requested them to attend the stakeholder while I complete my deadline. Because I knew that this particular company and the particular department that I was interviewing for, it focused mainly on ethics like teamwork, time management, and also stakeholder satisfaction. So this was the kind of answer that I gave, and I think it was adequate, it was helpful to me, and so you could also give such an answer, a similar answer, if you have been asked these kind of situational questions. But this was just my personal experience. Let me give you some suggestions on how you could answer these kind of ethical dilemma questions. So as I mentioned earlier, ethical dilemma basically has two choices and you need to choose one. So the trick here is to consider both the options equally, to give equal weightage to both the choices. However crazy the second option may seem to you, and you know in your mind that you are not going to select that particular option, still you take some time, you think about both the options, and then you decide and then you answer. There is no dichotomy here. Don't give a straightforward yes or no answer, because that's not what they are looking for. They need a candidate who is considerate, who takes his time in thinking, who takes his time in applying the values that they possess into the workplace, which is very important for the recruiter. So in case you are not asked about a situational question or an ethical dilemma question, one would be asked from your end, as in they would ask you after you enlist your work ethics, they would ask you that, okay, now tell us about a situation in which you were required to apply so and so work ethic. And these kind of questions are usually asked to experienced candidates, because freshers are opted out from these kind of interview questions because they don't have that much of professional experience. But for experienced professionals, somewhere down their professional line, they would have experienced some kind of situation, some kind of dilemma in which they would have been required to sit and to think and then to make a decision and then to act. So these kind of situations you need to describe in your job interviews. I would suggest that you prepare beforehand. You decide what kind of workplace ethics that you are going to talk about, and then you also prepare the situations in which you would or let's say you have applied these kind of workplace ethics, and I would suggest to keep these situations genuine, because if you just make up these kind of situations, the interviewers would come to know. So keep it genuine and keep it simple and yet convincing. Also, once again, I would suggest to keep your answers in line with the company culture and the company ethics. This would help you a lot. So this was all from my end. I hope it was helpful. Wish you all the best. Good luck.